just got back from an incredible 6-day bucket list trip in the Maldives, but we all know that the Maldives can be a little bit pricey. In this video, we'll be telling you exactly how we got an almost $10,000 room for the low price of about $600. Plus, we'll be telling you exactly how much we spent during our trip to the Maldives in a budget breakdown.
Hello, happy travelers. We are Kevin and Kelly from the Awkward Tourists.
Welcome to our Maldives budget breakdown video. The Maldives is definitely a bucket list destination. It was for us, and we were so happy to get the chance to actually go and visit these beautiful islands. But they are known for being just a little bit pricey. We wanted to be totally transparent to let you guys know exactly how much we spent during our 6-day trip and how you can get the same types of deals that we did and maybe save a little bit of money on your Maldives trip.
We stayed at the Conrad Maldives Resort on Rangali Island for 5 nights. All said and done with food, transportation within the Maldives, and the cost of the resort, excursions, and everything else that we spent on this trip, it was $3,530.
Can you spend less money? Absolutely. There are a lot of resorts in the Maldives, and so there's an option for everybody. But we're gonna break down what we spent and why we spent that much.
Let's start with the hotel.
That was probably our biggest deal, and it actually required quite a bit of planning. If you've watched our previous videos, you know that I'm really into credit card points and travel hacks. So as Kevin said, we stayed at a Conrad resort, which is part of the Hilton family.
About a year ago, we signed up for the Hilton Honors American Express business card. We signed up for this credit card because they had an insane sign-up bonus, giving you 130,000 Hilton Honors points.
Plus, we both had Hilton Honors personal cards, so to start our planning, we started using all 3 of our Hilton cards for every purchase, both business and personal. So we racked up the points really fast.
Then, we found out that you could book the Conrad Resort for 95,000 points per night.
Which is such a great deal for such a luxury property. And the best part is that was actually for an overwater villa. It wasn't even for a beach bungalow or anything like that. That was already staying in the iconic overwater villa. And we were like, let's go.
If you book 4 reward nights using Hilton Honors points, you get the 5th night free. So we were actually able to get a 5-night stay
for the price of 4 nights. We ended up falling a little bit short of our points goals, but at the time we wanted to book the Conrad Resort, Hilton was having a 2-for-1 point special. So we were actually able to purchase 62,000 points, and then we got an extra 62,000 points for free, which all told came out to be $600. Normally the category of room that we booked, which was the Sunrise Water Villa, would have been between $7,000 and $10,000 for our stay. So that was a massive savings. And why I love me some credit card and Hilton points.
Let's talk about the rest of the money that we spent while we were in the Maldives. Arriving in the international airport in the Maldives, you still have to get to the resort. The resort we stayed at was a 30-minute seaplane ride away from the international airport. It ended up costing us $600 per person round trip to take this 30-minute seaplane ride. It really couldn't have been avoided. That's just the way it was. Be aware of that if you're planning a trip to the Maldives. Sometimes the seaplane flights can be really expensive.
So I'll give you a quick tip to save money on transportation within the Maldives. Because the Conrad Maldives was so far from Malé, like we said, that seaplane ride was unavoidable. A way to spend less money on this domestic transportation is to book a resort that's closer to Malé, so maybe you can take a speedboat there that takes less time, or you can stay on one of the local islands, which might end up being slightly less of a luxury experience, but you'll be saving money and still in the Maldives in the end, so worth it. The next thing we want to talk about is how much we spent on our food and drinks while at the resort. Food is pretty darn expensive. So for 6 days at the resort, we spent a total of $586.69, which is actually really good. We saved a lot of money in different ways.
Having gold status with Hilton, which we got through signing up for that credit card that we mentioned earlier, you are granted free access to their unlimited breakfast buffet. That buffet runs until 10:30 every day, and we were actually able to eat a little later and stretch that into a brunch, avoiding paying for all breakfasts and most lunches during our stay.
But if you have to pay for that buffet outright, it was upwards of $100 a person per day. So that could add up really quickly. So you get the free breakfast if you're Gold or Diamond Hilton members, or if you book a package somewhere else that has free breakfast, which I highly recommend.
We had a few meals via room service, a couple of lunches, a few dinners. We did it pretty cheap. Probably could have done it a little cheaper. The Maldives are really expensive for dining.
On average for dinners, you're probably not going to pay less than $100 for 2 people. So keep that in mind when you're going to the Maldives. Some ways that we avoided this were, as Kevin said, we were able to stretch our breakfast into brunch. That way we didn't have to eat lunches. We brought some kind of college kid food from home.
Yeah, we were those people eating cup noodles in an overwater bungalow, but hey, you do what you gotta do.
It saved us literally hundreds of dollars by doing that. And we were able to have some leftovers from the couple of dinners that we did eat out. Now let's talk about booze, shall we? Actually, we did not spend a penny on booze at the Conrad Maldives, which number one is because drinks were on average $20 to $30 each, which is a little too pricey. Number two, as a welcome gift for Diamond members, they gave us a bottle of Prosecco.
And they also have a free happy hour for anyone that has Hilton Honor status every day at 4 to 5. That's all you can drink for 1 hour, so we definitely took advantage of that.
They included wine, beer, and a signature cocktail that was different every day, plus some little canapes you could eat. So it wasn't much food, but it did hold us over until dinner. So more savings.
We ended up spending $736.74 on excursions during our 5-day stay.
These two things were probably our biggest splurges on our trip.
The first excursion that we went on was a snorkeling with whale sharks tour. The tour was 4 hours long, and I think it was well worth it. We saw some really incredible whale sharks, got some incredible photos and videos. Unfortunately, Kelly got seasick.
Don't put the camera at me. So it wasn't 4 hours for us. It was $500 for a 1 hour tour. They don't prorate, so that's a little unfortunate, but honestly, I would do it again even if it was just 1 hour. It was so incredible.
Even if you got seasick again?
I don't know. It was pretty rough, but to see the whale sharks was indescribable. It was so cool. If you haven't seen that video, you should definitely go watch it as soon as you're done watching this video.
Holy crap, that was right next to me. The second excursion was a tour of the underwater restaurant that they have at Conrad Maldives. It was $250 for 2 people to go to a cocktail hour, which really was just hanging out in the restaurant for an hour before they served their lunch.
You got 1 glass of champagne and some tiny little canapes similar to the happy hour, and you spent an hour taking photos and videos in the underwater restaurant, which for what we got, it was very expensive for sure. But we thought we would do the least expensive option because lunch was even more than that and dinner was pretty astronomical and we definitely couldn't afford that. So for the experience, it's time to go in for our experience. An experience. Quite a unique experience. Pretty unique experience. True experience. For the experience. It was a splurge. You can save money by not doing it and skipping that if you want, but we wanted to do these things on our trip to the Maldives, so that's how we're justifying it.
There were about $400 in miscellaneous charges. A big chunk of that was the PCR tests that we needed to leave the Maldives and continue on to the Seychelles. That really couldn't have been avoided. We also left some tips for a few employees that we interacted with that did a really good job.
The service was top-notch at the Conrad Maldives, so I wish we could have left more actually. And a couple other things like service charges, and we bought a couple of movies while we were hanging out in our villa. Nowadays, since COVID tests are much more widely available, I know that they do have at-home tests that you can take with you on your trips, and you can do sort of a teleconference with a doctor and they watch you take the test. You get the results there. So that might be a cost-saving thing so you don't have to spend $300 on a test at an expensive resort in the Maldives. I definitely recommend looking into those at-home tests. So you might have noticed that we did not talk about our international flights in this video. That is a little bit more complicated of a conversation because I work for an airline, so we get either free or deeply, deeply discounted flights. If you saw our flying to the Maldives video, you know that it took us a full 40 hours to get there, which is not the most direct or efficient way, but we did it that way because of my job, so we decided just to leave that out. Maybe that's a video for another day. This is our first budget breakdown we've ever done. If you like this kind of video and would like to see more of these budget breakdowns about the trips that we go on, let us know in the comments. We love to make more of these if you like them.
If you haven't seen all of our vlogs from this trip, be sure to go and check those out.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. This is Kelly and Kevin from The Awkward Tourists. Peace out.